As arguably one of, if not the biggest supporters to Train to the End of the World, I mean, I've been calling this anime of the season and potentially anime of the year for a hot minute. Even I was open to the possibility of this show crashing and burning. I was so ready for that I was mentioning that only a few episodes in, because this show was very ambitious. But with one episode to go, and now knowing how we can resolve everything, they're actually gonna do it. I fail to see that, and I might have pie on my face next week. But here's the thing. I will be the one to determine that. There's been plenty of times people told me that things had horrible endings, and I completely disagreed. But the idea of just needing to press that button actually makes a lot of sense. But the thing is not just anyone can press that button. I think what they're implying is that because Yoka's in control, she's essentially a god among men. If Yoka presses that button, and it's more than just a simple press, it's a mental thing. If she reconnects and wants to turn things back to normal, things will go back to normal. If not, then things will continue to spiral until everything ends. That basically is where we're left. I would love, the sick part of me, love a dark and twisted ending where shit just actually ends. Maybe friends can reunite, but then the world just ceases to exist. I love that. I like that type of stuff. But most likely, she will press that button and things will go back to normal and friends will reunite. And when I look back at what I've seen now over 11 out of 12 episodes, despite loving this show as much as I am, every step of the way I've been waiting for the moment where it trips, it stumbles, and becomes a snowball effect of a mess. And as someone who actually did get some enjoyment out of the show Mayoiga, I understood completely why people hated it, because it was a mess. But it was an entertaining mess for me. Turns out, key staff member involved in that, key staff member involved in this show. And now my comparison last week is making a lot more sense. But this does feel like a redemption. That the craziness, it's like, sometimes people are ahead of their times. And a show like Mayoiga it never was going to be successful. But a show like Train to the End of the World, you learn from your mistakes, and honestly, I fail to see how episode 12 changes my mind. If it does, I'll be honest with the fact and say, hey, I disagree with where it went. But even if everyone collectively in the anime community says it's the worst ending ever, I'll say how I feel. Because right now, this ain't just anime of the season, this is anime of the year. I respect things that are creative and different and don't follow trends. This is a trendsetter. And I think they're actually fucking doing it. And despite liking it this much, I've still been waiting for the shoe to drop, and I don't think that shoe's dropping at all. I have full live reactions to all these episodes of Train to the End of the World over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thought to any of these episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. Honestly, this is probably the most fun I've had watching a show, both for YouTube and for Patreon with those live reactions, because the theory crafting is so fun. And like I've mentioned, it's so easy when, there's a show you theory craft for that has a source material, because if you get anything right, people are going to claim you read the manga, the light novel, whatever it is. And then if you get something wrong, people are gonna be like, you're such an idiot, how do you not see it? Because they read the source material, and then they're forgetting the fact that they most likely also got theories wrong as they were reading said source material. You can't have that with Train to the End of the World because it's an anime original project. So while I'm definitely very proud of myself for getting the main story beats correct so early into this show, I'm not perfect when it came to predicting things. And the fact that we're still 11 episodes in and they find ways to make me say, what in the actual melon phone? I saw people last week speculate that the bitter melon might be the key to restoring her brain, and it still could be. The bitter melon is almost a nostalgic thing for all them. But the real kicker is the fact that anyone who's been like, listen, I've really had to suspend my sense of disbelief. The tapping of the railroad tracks. Yes, you can absolutely do that for a certain distance. But across the damn world or across the damn country, absolutely not. But they have a catch. 7G. You might want to say 7G is just a convenient plot element that allows him to do ridiculous things and have it make sense. And absolutely that's true, but that's not a bad thing. Here's the thing about this. It could be very easy to just say it's magic, because essentially what Yoka does is magic. But the idea of this 7G conspiracy of how technology connects in this weird reality warping way, you know what? Sure, the tapping of the railroad track just works. And you know what? Plants coming to life to the point that they can wrap around that shit, we can scrape a little, and now we have a freaking telephone. Because the technology is just reality warped to that degree. Does it make sense for our own world? Of course not. We don't have magic in our own world, and that's essentially what 7G is. But it's brilliant how they let the absurdity make sense for their anime. It does. As much as people have tried to say over the weeks that 7G, nothing about it makes sense, it does for this world. It does. You do have to kind of look at it in a way of a mixture of magic meets technology, but it makes sense for what they're implying here. It's just if you try to think, oh, does this make sense for our own world? Then you're just an idiot at that point, because how the hell could you look at magical bullshit like this and say, does it make sense for our own world? You know, but it's brilliant what they've been able to do. I wasn't expecting them to meet Yoka this episode. I thought it'd be a one episode thing. The fact that 2 minutes into this episode, they're already there, and that confrontation and the spice, every time she started to remember, she started exploding. She was like on self-destruct, and then whenever she would forget, she would be back to normal. This is a very intense situation with 1 episode to go. They're absolutely ending the show next episode. There's not going to be a season 2. I'll put my foot down. This show makes sense for 12 episodes because of how snappy it is. It is very fast-paced, but it's not because they're rushing, it's because they purposely designed a fast-paced show. And now that I know who the director is, and shows like Moega, yeah, I completely understand. This is a style that they purposely go for. Sometimes it works better than others, as seen here, and sometimes it works a lot worse, as seen with that show. But within if the next 15 minutes of this show for the last episode are pretty much what you expect from an episode of just insanity, the last 5 minutes could be complete epilogue resolution as they rapidly make up, and I could be fine with that. I still would have preferred 13 episodes. I think that would have just felt a little better, but I'm not feeling like I'm disappointed knowing there's only 1 episode left. I think they can do it, and up until this point, I've been someone who says, I like this, but one wrong move, it all tumbles. So for me to boldly say, and I could be completely wrong, and I'm okay with that, but they got me confident right now. And whether it is going to simply be Yoka pressing that button, or if there will be a bit more to the ending, whether everyone ends up dead, everyone ends up succeeding and living, whatever they choose, I really feel like it's going to be a show that is not only a 10 out of 10 for me, but like a hidden gem of the decade. I'm going to put it that high up. Now, of course, those are my feelings. Let me know what you thought down below. How do you see next episode going? Let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today, we got Carl Stefan Berndahl, Kekarek, Asiel, Justin Bernard, Clay Samuel, Hayden, and Cody Namir. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.